Oh, give me all the Nigerian passport.
Individual there. Hey, so. Africa, Chinese leave Africa. Africa no do anything, but now Chinese come here, pursue us land. Chinese Africa, everywhere Chinese. Don't worry. In Ahoya, Queen Ahoya name, Chinese Africa, Chinese everywhere. Look at what they are doing. Don't worry. Chinese everywhere, Chinese Africa, Chinese my country.
Chinese for my country.
Chinese for my country, Chinese leave my country. We not do Chinese anything. Chinese Africa everywhere. Chinese. Chinese my country, Chinese leave Africa. But Africa no talk. Look at rain beat us your country. Look at rain beat us. No problem. Chinese my country. You see Chinese my country kid. You see Chinese they my country. Chinese Africa. Chinese the whole world. Chinese my country. Don't worry. You see. In Africa, they are the member. They Chinese you know my country. Many Chinese my country. Chinese my country. Chinese full everywhere. Don't worry. Chinese my country. Chinese none of my country. Look at what I do. Chinese my look at you people are pushing us in the rain. It's very wicked of you.
How you treat our ambassador is very important. Very, very important. And I'm glad you did that. But how you treat our citizens is more important.
I know. Yes.
Than even how you treat the ambassador.
Yes.
So, I mean, I just want to take you through, and I'm sure my colleagues will have some comments as well. You said you haven't seen any of the videos that are out there. I'm at liberty to show them to you. Everybody has a phone if you want, if that will convince you, because you've said you haven't had an official complaint.
You must communicate to us as accredited consulate to you. Then if you communicate to us, we are going to be able to sit with you and then see the modality, how we are going to discuss it with our national.
You know what our government, including those of us here, the resistance we put up just to allow your medical personnel to come in a couple of days ago. Nigerians were worried for good reason, because we have this virus out there. And we're almost undiplomatic the way I'm talking, but it's because I am actually upset about what's going on. So I mean, I'm not sure how you want to address this. Have you spoken to your Nigerian counterpart in China? Have you spoken to the Nigerian ambassador in China?
No.
You haven't?
No.
Have you spoken
not
to
on this issue.
I'm talking about this issue. Have you spoken to any official Chinese of the Chinese government in China?
Definitely. We have to, like I promised the foreign minister, we take the very...
No, but you have not.
No, we have done it. But
You spoke to the Chinese government?
We're still waiting for because we are here. We don't get the picture, the whole picture. So, but we have to report the concern from Right Honorable Speaker and the Minister. We take it very seriously.
Yeah, whatever you have, please by Monday, because I'm aware that this is a weekend. But by Monday, so we have a couple of days.
Or Tuesday.
Please, or Tuesday, because Monday is a public holiday. Well, today is a public holiday, so we're working over public holiday. If you have information by Monday.
Mindset, manners and respect, you know. What is going on in China, you know? Zinka, we see our brothers and sisters from Nigeria that is studying over there in China. All of a sudden now they're being put out of their living accommodation. Zin from Chinese landlords and estate agents. Now, all of a sudden, why the breakdown of relationship when we can clearly see right here the Nigerian president and also the Chinese president holding hands. You know what I mean? So why all of a sudden the breakdown? Why all of a sudden the harsh and discriminative treatment from the Chinese towards I and I, brethren and sister from Nigeria? Anyway, my people, I'm gonna drop another video, Zane, of what's taking place. You know, some more footage of what's happening there in China, and then straight after that, we're gonna go into another video regarding France and the vaccine. Zane and Africa.
Hello, my people. My name is. So the message could be relayed to the French authorities wherever they are in France that Nigeria is indeed a sovereign country, and as such, any form or attempt to compromise our territorial integrity will be resisted wholeheartedly. At this point, I want to stress, Nigeria was not colonized by France. Therefore, they have no business coming to toy with our lives here. We are aware that some vested interest was not happy with the gains made by the Nigerian government and especially our dear President Muhammad Buhari, in the fight against terrorism. As such, they began providing logistic support under a cover called humanitarian whatever to the Boko Haram fighters. They also assumed the role of the mouthpiece of the Boko Haram terrorist group. They use their state medium to promote their nefarious activities and to give them the needed psychological boost, claiming human rights for people that have been raised, trained to kill fellow Nigerians by them. The movement against slavery and terrorism wishes to state categorically and on unequivocal terms that France is indeed responsible for the resurgence of Boko Haram attacks in Nigeria. The movement against slavery and terrorism wishes to inform the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, that the world is indeed watching closely, and we, especially Nigerians, are also watching very closely. And should the French authorities not halt the spread of terrorism in Nigeria, the day of reckoning is indeed near, and very, very near. We are also aware that the actions of France are hinged on economic benefits, given the avalanche of economic resources in northeast Nigeria, particularly the Lake Chad Basin region. This is indeed an attempt at recolonization. What did I say? It is another attempt at recolonization by France after we have been colonized by Britain. We are not under France, and we will not allow for France to come and colonize us again by violence, which by all standard is peril and won't stand the test of time, because Nigerians will resist every move with passion. Let me pause here and give you one statistics. In March 2008, listen to this quote and please put it on record and on your medium. Without Africa, France will slide down into the rank of 23rd power of the world. That is, quote and unquote, former French President Jacques Chirac. Another quote and unquote, without Africa, France will have no history in the 21st century, by Francois Mitterrand. This was a prophecy given in 1957. Now, I want to digress a little bit. In 14 African countries are obliged by France through the colonial pact to put 85% of their reserves in the Central Bank of France. That is not enough for them. Under the French Ministry of Finance, in 2014, Togo and 13 other African countries still have to pay the colonial debt, which they do not owe, to France. African leaders who refuse to pay are either killed or victims of coup d'etat, and those who obey these oppressive conditions are supported and rewarded with a lifetime rulership and not leadership of their people. This strangulating colonial system offers France, please put it on record, a cash of about 500 billion US dollars. I mean 500 billion US dollars year in, year out, which they now in turn use to purchase weapons of destruction for fellow Africans and especially Nigerians, for us to begin to kill one another. This is unacceptable to us. It is no longer tolerable. We will not accept it. Yes. And in the case for Nigerians to kill Nigerians, we say no to this. We say no. You cannot continue to use money from Africa to buy weapons, arms and ammunition for Nigerians and other African countries to kill themselves. We say no. I said we say no. No. We say no. We say no. The movement against slavery is also calling on United Nations to investigate the role of France in the spread of terrorism in Nigeria and the whole of Africa. France must also stop the sale of arms and ammunition to the Boko Haram terrorist groups in the interest of peace and tranquility. That is what we need for us to progress and succeed. This is on the heels that the bulk of the French NGOs operating in Northeast Nigeria are carrying out espionage activities and passing the same to the leadership of the Boko Haram terrorist groups on the instruction of French authorities because of their business interests. In the business of selling arms and ammunition to Nigerians to kill Nigerians. The movement against slavery and terrorism is indeed saying enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. And France must stop the distasteful support it has been extending to the Boko Haram terrorist group in Nigeria, which is aimed at making Nigeria erupt in flames. And Nigeria will not erupt in flames. Instead, France will erupt in flames.